Laura and Thomas, the video you're about to watch is actually a week old. It's last week's video from July 1st. I never got around to finishing editing it. I started but never finished, so at this point you're going to see content that is a week old. I'm very sorry about that. I'm going to make another video this weekend to make up for it. In the meantime, ignore the fact that I start the video with saying, "Hi Laura and Thomas, it's July 1st," because it's not. Good afternoon, Laura and Thomas. It's Friday, July 1st. Happy Canada Day. So I went out to get some lunch earlier today, and as always, as I turn the corner from my street onto Main Street, I pass by this building. It's the building that houses, or used to house, I should say, Happy Bats Cinema, which was a local video rental place specializing in a little bit of cult films, a little bit of Canadian films. Now, Happy Bats recently closed, and it's a bit of a sad story. I mean, they were not making enough money to keep the rent on their current place, so they figured they had negotiated a deal with their landlord wherein they could transfer the lease to someone else and then move into a smaller location, ideally somewhere on Main Street, and just keep going business as usual. Except one day when they showed up and all the locks had been changed, as the sign earlier said. Now, Happy Bats isn't the only one. Independent movie rental stores in Vancouver are facing a tough time. With Blockbuster's recent announcement of bankruptcy and selling off their stock and closing down their stores, it's obvious that the way that we rent or borrow and view videos is changing. But these smaller stores closing is hitting a little bit more personally than Blockbuster closing. I mean, I'm sorry to say, I can't really bring myself to feel that sorry about Blockbuster closing. I mean, it's a multinational corporation that hit some hard times, tried to keep up with the competition, and ultimately couldn't do it. I mean, when businesses like Netflix and Redbox are offering either cheaper or better solutions, Blockbuster didn't really do anything to incentivize customers to stay with them as opposed to going with the other ones. I can't really say the same for these smaller companies. I mean, like I was mentioning, a lot of these places, particularly like Videomatica, Happy Bats, there's another one in Vancouver called Limelight, which thankfully is still in business. They operate on this assumption that there are movies out there that you just won't be able to get through Netflix or through other means. So they offer this niche market, this ability to offer older or rarer films or geographically specific films that you wouldn't be able to get any other way, different regions, things like that. I mean, the number of times that I've rented videos from Limelight for projects in film studies courses just because it was literally the only place in town that you'd be able to get some of these movies. And it's sad to see it all closing down. And I mean, I'm not going to start this into a rant about piracy or anything like that, but that definitely has a big part to do with smaller businesses like this closing. I mean, the fact of the matter becomes, things aren't so rare anymore. As weird as that is to say, tracking down that rare film and knowing that there's only one spot in town that you can get it, that notion is almost gone because you can find pretty much anything you're looking for on the internet. You know, it may be a rip of a VHS that was taped over from a TV thing, but you'll still be able to get that movie somewhere on the internet. And that, I think, is part of the issue, is once again, these businesses don't really have a model that can compete in the end of the day with, yeah, but I can get this for free. I guess there's a little bit of weirdness in the fact that video in general doesn't have that nostalgia of medium that other avenues of entertainment have. I'm thinking, of course, of music. I mean, there's a huge nostalgic resurgence for records and for vinyl and LPs in the face of, you know, MP3s and the iTunes store and things like that. There's been this push of local record stores offering, you know, high fidelity sound and whatnot. And I know we've already talked about this, the fact that unless you have $20,000 worth of stereo equipment, you're really not going to hear that fidelity of sound that the records are purportedly giving you. But that's beside the point. And even alongside records, I mean, cassettes, there was an entire culture of mixtapes and custom cassettes and things taped from multiple different sources and brought together on these mixes. There's still a heavy amount of nostalgia for that sort of culture of sharing of music and things like that movies, as far as I'm aware, just don't really have. I mean, I sincerely doubt that in 10 years you're going to have people sitting around thinking or talking or saying, you know what was really great? VHS. I suppose the crux of the matter is that sharing aspect of the community, while it wasn't about the actual physical medium, came from, again, these small stores and the fact that the clerks that worked at places like Videomatica or Happy Bats in general tended to be more well-informed about films. You could actually ask them their opinion on things. They'd probably seen a lot of the films that they carried, and they were very willing to tell you what they felt was good and what wasn't. Now, of course, this is a topic covered much more heavily in movies like Be Kind, Rewind. The downside was, I don't know, in my opinion, that movie really wasn't as good or as meaningful as I wanted it to be, and that was the problem. Maybe I'm getting nostalgic, but, you know, I can't help but think of this every time I walk by the empty storefront where Happy Bats used to be. I mean, I can't help but wonder what this industry is going to look like in 10 years, in 15 years. Are we still going to have this market for these niche stores that offer either selection or service or knowledge of the staff that people are going to rely on and still continue to use in the age of everything is a couple clicks away. Everything is just one torrent download away from being on your computer forever. You can watch it whenever you want. It's a tough question, and certainly one that I'm not able to answer. And as always, time will tell with these sorts of things. Anyway, that's what I've been thinking about this week. Laura, I'll see you on Monday. Thomas, I'll see you on Wednesday. Have a good weekend.